Coming up, trouble, the big kind.
Horrible condition.
Rough night, eh? And the action goes sideways.
There it is.
This is Project Louisville, an incredibly rare V12 machine, one of two E31 850 CSI finished in Santorini blue over black leather interior. This 8 Series found me. Neglected and leaky BMWs have a tendency to wind up in my lap, and despite this being a very expensive car, it ticks all of the right boxes. Oil leaks? Yes. Yes. Yeah, that looks like an oil leak to me. We have some rust too for a crispy finish. The engine runs rough and lumpy.
That's not good.
The paint has seen better days. The suspension is kaput, both front and rear. As this is a Euro CSI, it has the rare AGK rear wheel steering option that's broken. The rear wheels should turn like this, but on this car, they are stuck in the straight position with a warning light on the dash. Despite having only 73,000 miles, the poor beauty is clearly broken and neglected. It spent many years in storage, sitting unused, and that's about to change now. I teleported myself from Germany to Pulaski, Virginia, where our truly good friends from BimmerWorld showered me with parts and set me loose in their shop and warehouse, all on a joint mission to fully and properly rejuvenate this beautiful car. We started that process in the previous episode. The goal is to fully service it with preventative maintenance and make sure this 31-year-old CSI is turnkey ready for a cross-country road trip and be bulletproof for years to come. I have solid experience with this model and engine, and I suspected vacuum leaks in the form of leaking intake manifold gaskets. Suspicion confirmed.
Definitely leaking.
We then tackled the notorious camshaft banjo bolts that tend to back out and cut oil supply to the top of the engine. Got that permanently secured with locking tabs, and then slap in the face in the form of a valley pan cover. First seven bolts snapped off, and then it got better.
No! The cover broke. The cover broke.
Good times. I carefully drilled out all 7 broken bolts and installed helicoils and spent quite a lot of time cleaning up everything, including the front of the engine, at which point I decided to replace the front crank seal. You know, while in there. Ed sent me a replacement valley pan cover and this crank holder tool so we can undo the crank bolt, remove the hub and get to the seal.
So you go over there and hold it. I'll try to crack it loose. I feel like I should be wearing a helmet for this. Let's try a little bit. No, man, this is too thin. Okay, you got it? Nope. Almost slipping coolant. Forgot to press record, but we successfully loosened the crank bolt. I hate when that happens. Yeah, I can't believe I forgot to press record. Let's get the hub off. There it is. That's the hub removed. And now we gotta pull out the crank seal. This is thankfully a normal rubber seal, not the stupid Teflon seal. We're gonna try the old school method of using a self-tapping screw. Drive that in and try to pull out the seal that way. Nope. There it is. Nice. This is the old school method that works every time. You just gotta be careful when doing this and not touch the crank or the timing cover when putting the self-tapping screw in. As you can see, we didn't do that. Got a Q-tip and some oil. Per the repair manual, we need to lube up the surface. Because again, this is a rubber seal, not Teflon. Here's the brand new crank seal that I received within 3 minutes of placing the order. Thank you, Phil. Lube up this as well a little bit. Now you're ready for the seal. So I'm going to use the flat side of the wood block and just make sure the seal is sitting flush with the timing cover. Because the old one was sticking out a little bit and we want to move this one further in so it rides on a new spot on the crank. And that's sitting perfectly flush all around. Nice one, Coco. Hablicious. Going back on. Nice and clean. And a brand new crank bolt. Bit of oil applied. And the torquillation is 100 millimeters and then 60-degree angle twice. All right, let's do 100 millimeters first. So thankfully they have a NIN62 timing toolkit in stock, and part of that toolkit is this. This is how we're gonna know how many degrees we're torquing. I had to use tape because the magnet is dropping out. So first one should be somewhat easy. Let me preload it on my side. Good? Yep. Okay, let me see where we're at. More?
I think so.
Yeah, that's perfect. Second round. That's it. Perfect.
Beautiful.
Beautiful, that was bang on. Thank you very much for the assist.
Now back to the valley pan cover.
Final round of vacuuming. Now I'm going to use isopropyl alcohol to clean the surface because we're going to use my favorite salad dressing. The gasket all on its own will definitely not seal because the surface is quite rough on the block as well as the replacement cover. So we're going to use my favorite salad dressing. And this is the same thing that I use back home, Loctite 5923. It is a gasket dressing, aka sealant aid. So it's the brown goop. We're going to smear that all over the surface. So Picasso, take it away. You're going to be generous with this as well. This one is from Permatex, Form a Gasket Sealant Liquid. That is the loudest air compressor in the world. It's like 3 blocks away and I can still hear it. All right, gasket going in. That is nice. Goop applied. This is a cover from Ed. It's not the prettiest one, and this is after spending an hour cleaning it and prepping it. But you know what? It's not in 2 pieces. So for the bolts, I have brand new zinc plated bolts, and I'm going to put a very thin coat of anti-seize on the threads because we don't want this happening ever again. It's just terrible doing what I had to do. And then underneath of the head of the bolt, I'm gonna put a little bit of Rhinzo seal. Why? Well, 1, I don't want it to leak through the threads, and 2, if water or coolant or oil or whatever starts seeping from above, I don't want it to go past the head of the bolt and into the hole here because that will make it rust. I ended up using BMW bolts because they're a little bit longer than the zinc plated ones that I have. And then the threads that I didn't repair, I found a tap here, so I cleaned them thoroughly. And now I'm gonna do them up all by hand so I can feel the threads. If anything feels off, I can stop. But the torquillation is 10 millimeters. Nice. A Senor Pick. Where are the picks, man? Here's one. It's actually a very clean surface. Brand new gringo. Oh, look at that. All right, silicone spray. See this tiny ring here? Yeah, I forgot to put that on the parts list that I sent to Phil prior to coming here. And I just looked it up and it's NLA in Germany. You can't buy it from BMW anymore. Anyway, I just wrote to Phil, and bear in mind it's 10 p.m. on a Saturday and there's a brand new one. The legend just guided me through the warehouse to go and pick it up. It literally took less than 30 seconds to get it. And now I can assemble this tonight. I'm just thrilled. Absolutely thrilled. Like, there is no better place to do this project than here. Okay, I've polished this pipe. It's in rather nice condition. I polished it where the O-ring sits. There we are. Oh, I'm not confident that O-ring is gonna seal. Yeah, let's use the goop. I'm doing everything I can to make sure this thing does not leak. All right. The other pipe. Good. The water pump for this car is NLA. Discontinued. Does not exist. Cannot be bought. Yet, I have one right here. OE part. How, you ask? Well, thanks to BimmerWorld. When I told them what I bought and that I might be doing this project here, do not ship. Ask JR. So if you ask JR, he's gonna tell you, don't touch that. It's for that doofus from Germany. He might be doing this project here. So they set this pump on the side specifically for me. Thank you so much, fellas and fillettes. This is probably the last pump in existence. Lasso is who makes this water pump for BMW. That being said, I believe Ed made reproduction parts. So if you need a water pump, I think he still has some. But in our case, we're going with the original part. Lube up the O-ring surface. Plenty of lube all around. The lighting is so poor here, can't work without the headlight. Headlight? It is a headlight. Oh, that's lighting is so nice. Oh. Not gonna lie, the situation with the valley pan cover, stressful. Not because I can't fix it, I can. It's just added complication. Took me a day and a half to get that fixed. Then had to get that cover shipped from Ed from California. It's just a mess. So remember, when working on a project car, you're always one bolt away from divorce. Because you're like, coming honey, I'll take you to all you can eat lobster in 5 minutes. I just need to undo this 10mm bolt. Snap, crack, pop. And you're alone and eating frozen pizza till the rest of your miserable life. It's that simple. All it takes is one 10mm bolt. Thankfully, my wife is on a different continent. So despite being 10 midnight on a Saturday, we're still gonna work on this thing. Oil leaks from the hydraulic system is, my back hurts from like cleaning over like that. Anyway, oil leaks from the hydraulic system. That's what I wanna attack now because we have plenty of room to play with here. See that thick rubber hose with the hose clamp there? Yeah, that one is leaking and the oil is running down the hose onto the steering box, onto the subframe and just making a mess. That one below also looks wet. Could be that it's just oil from this one going onto that one, but we'll replace that one as well because it's just a simple piece of hose. This line is discontinued because it's a special Euro CSI line because of the rear wheel steering. It goes into the pump and it splits into two. The pump, the hydraulic pump, is leaking as well from the front half, and the rebuild kit is not available for it, unfortunately, and we need to get it to stop leak oil. So we're gonna remove that pump, split it apart, and see what we can do. I am curiosa. What kind of oil do we have in here? Wanna bet it's gonna be ATF and not CHF 7.1? Ooh, this one says CHF 11.S. What do we have for fluid? There's also a filter inside that's NLA. Well, blimey, it's green. That is good. And that fluid looks relatively clean, I gotta say. So the early E31 boys used 7.1, and you can't mix the two together. Compatibility issues. Anyway, let's leave that be. Let's go below and drain the oil. So this magnificent hydraulic pump is specific to a Euro CSI because of the rear wheel steering. And this one is leaking. See that fresh bit of green fluid there? So it looks like from that half. So between the front and the middle half. And if it's anything like the standard pump on the E31, there should be a giant O-ring there, which is fixable even if we don't have that O-ring. But anyway, I think this is what's happening. That's leaking there, and then as you're driving the car, the wind is pushing it that way. So all of this is from that. It is going in that direction. So I don't think the steering box is leaking, it's just the combination of a leaking pump and that hose. So all of this is covered in hydraulic fluid. Also, this corner here, we have a line that goes to the back for the rear wheel steering. There's another line in there that's leaking that we need to address. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 connections going to this pump. Have you ever seen hydraulic / power steering pump like that? Anyway, I don't see a drain plug. Maybe it is here, but that does not look removable. So we're not gonna touch that. We're just gonna unbutton this hose here. Oh, that line be bending, man. Can you stop twisting? There we go. Yeah, that's clean hydraulic fluid. It's good to see. That's actually an O-ring in there, not a washer. Interesting. Wow, that is one specific banjo bolt, man. Really tiny holes. I'm willing to bet that none of those lines were ever off. Jeez. Oh, that's too fast. Oh, I didn't look up if the O-rings are available, but I would imagine not. I'm gonna leave the top line attached because I can't get to it, but if you unbolt the pump, then I should be able to undo that bungee bolt as well. All right, let's get to that one there. All right. What happens if I pull you back? All right, there we go. Crack open that line. There we go. Now this one precious pump removed. Bad Homburg, no shit. Look at this. Fahrzeug Hydraulic Bad Homburg. That's nearby Frankfurt. Back when they actually made stuff in Germany. Anyway, 130 bar. That's some insane pressure from this pump. Let's see if we can fix it or get it to stop leak oil.
We're back in the dojo apparently, so I can tell you how I managed to stay online during my US road trip. I partnered up with Ubiji, which is an application through which you can get eSIM data plan. You download the app, you register, and then you have over 200 destinations to choose from. In my case, it's the US, and I immediately have various different plans from budget friendly to unlimited. I went for unlimited because I'm a professional, talk to myself. I need to be online 24/7 in case a broken BMW comes up for sale. I used 15 days unlimited, which was 39 euros. Frankly, that's cheap and a hell of a deal that I otherwise wouldn't be able to get with my normal service provider. It's dead easy to use. When you land to wherever you're going, you just go into your phone and switch the mobile data to eSIM, and it's immediately gonna start working. And even if you didn't do all of this in advance and prep yourself, you can still use the Ubiji app without data or Wi-Fi to buy a data plan. I've been using Ubiji for the entire 2 weeks that I was in the US, and it worked flawlessly from the start till the end. I didn't even use my hotel Wi-Fi. I just used this wherever I went. So I can definitely recommend it. There's no subscription, there's no BS. It just works, and it's a great deal. Use code that one to get yourself a discount. Thank you, Ubiji, for making my life easier. I didn't have to worry about data and doing this and that and swapping SIM cards with a toothpick.
Morning. While trying to fall asleep last night, I realized I made an oversight. I should have removed the pulley before even touching the pump, because it's possible that the front radial shaft seal is leaking and not the housing. And now I won't be able to tell anything apart because it's all covered in oil, and I also spritzed it with penetrating oil so I can get the pulley off. But anyway, I looked up the factory last night in Bad Homburg. Does not exist anymore, of course. Such a shame. Just can you imagine back in the 90s? That company was probably booming over there, powering the German mighty industry, and now it's all gone. You can't find a machine shop in Frankfurt area, let alone something else that's being made over there. Anyway, let's get the pulley off. Oh, easy. So these bolts here are for the rear part of the pump. These 4 here are for this front piece. This looks like it's the radial shaft seal. Honestly, there's quite a lot of oil there. How do we pull out this? Can we just unbolt it and take it all out? I don't know, but we'll find out. The thing is, I have to be extra careful here, because if I break this pump or damage it in any way, it's game over. I'm never gonna find another one. It's specific to Euro CSI. Where are you gonna find spare parts for that? Yeah, looking at this up close now, I'm gonna say I'm 99% sure it's the front radial shaft seal that's leaking, because there's heavy oil deposits here and here, and in between this front plate and the middle part of the housing there is no oil, so it must be coming from the front. Now the question is, how do we disassemble this? On the standard E31 pump you can pull off this flange, and this is definitely not the same as the standard pump. I was hoping maybe the shaft seal is going to be the same, but if memory serves me right, the shaft seal on that pump is small, a lot smaller than this. For the start, let's remove the 4 bolts and go from there. Maybe we can measure the seal and find a replacement one, I don't know. Okay, I found some pictures online, and this flange here, it's part of the shaft that goes through the entire pump. So I would imagine you have to remove the rear cover and then press out the shaft. So undoing these bolts up front will do absolutely nothing. And if I disassemble this pump, then we are in trouble, because again, no spare parts whatsoever, and there are quite a few O-rings in there. I know of a guy in California that rebuilds them, not this particular one, but E38 with self-leveling suspension looks very similar, so maybe he can do some magic there with this one. And the one that kind of looks similar to this one is that one. Look, LFR68, and this is for the E38 with self-leveling suspension. You can see here that thing blown into a million pieces, quite a lot of seals and gasket. I have none of that. So in order to get the shaft out, I have to remove the rear cover, press it out. So pump disassembly is needed.
Anyway, I sent an email to Jay, so let's see what happens. In the meantime, let's go ahead and remove that line that's leaking and see what we can do there. Now let's disconnect it here on the top first. That rubber hose is really hard. I don't want to break this. I might actually have to cut the line off because I'm risking bending this tube here. Yeah, for the power steering pump, there's that one guy in California. I just talked to him. Completely useless. Not helpful one bit. So that is a bust and a big problem now because I don't know what I'm going to do with the pump. Come on, you. The problem is that this line is now plastic at this point and it formed shape around the end of the pipe. So it's just not possible to pull it off. All right, about to cut the NLA hose off. That is what's happening now. Yep, that's now off. There we are. And that's the hose. The problem was this hose is plastic at this point, and this bit here formed shape around the end of the pipe, and it just wouldn't come off. And yeah, you can see that it was leaking here. So I'll have to Dremel this off and put a universal hose there, and then also this bit here. Whew, that's solidly firm. There are two more lines that I want to get to below the reservoir. See if we can swap them out. This one looks like a standard fuel hose. Ah, there it is. Such a struggle to remove such a tiny hose. Let's go get the next one. That one is off. Well, one end is. Not a single one of these hoses can you remove peacefully. They all have to be cut. Finally. All right, so here's what we're doing. I need this hose and that hose and clamps. So let's go hunting for that. BimmerWorld has proven to be an ideal place for this project on many occasions, some of which you have yet to see. With their unmatched customer service and experience, Phil just sent me a screenshot where what is located. You can shop for original, OE, OEM, aftermarket, and performance parts, like I am right now. They literally allow me to go through their warehouse alone and grab whatever parts I need. Look at the amount of parts that we have here. Their hospitality and dedication to this project and me have surpassed even the wildest expectations. Please check them out, show them the love, and I personally guarantee you, you will not regret it. No better place to buy BMW parts from. Use the link in the description for a discount. Power steering hose C15A3. That looks like hoses. A3. That's gonna be this one. It's original BMW hose. Okay, she'll collect that. 1622, so this is the big one that we need. Put that around my neck. Then the next hose, there we are. Aha! So I'll go find a cutter somewhere. Anyway, while I wait on the news to get the cutter, let's go find the hose clamp. There we are. Plenty in stock. We need 4, I think. This is literally the dream. It's Sunday afternoon. Everything is closed, and here I am picking parts in a warehouse. All right, that's gonna go in my pocket. Oh, actually, we have more clamps to find. 3, 4, 6. There we are. Plenty of those there as well. Okay, let's cut 1 meter off here. Got 1 meter here, so that's everything we need. 3 different types of clamps and 2 different types of fuel hoses. But yeah, this is what that looks like. Really cool experience, I gotta say. All right, back to work. Let's cut new lines. Okay, got new clamps here. This one here is a standard fuel line. Now this line, we need to mark its position so I can reinstall it correctly. All right, I'm gonna make a mark so I can line this up correctly afterwards. There we are. Beautiful. That's that done. And now this one. So I have to Dremel this off. There. Can you maybe mark the hose when I squish this one down? Put it into my fingers there.
A little bit extra on that?
Yeah, definitely. Cool. Thank you. Oh, perfect fitment. And that's that hose refurbished. All right, let's go and reinstall this. That's the new hoses installed.
And I cleaned up the entire area so we can monitor for leaks. Also, if you look over there, someone spilled brake fluid and didn't clean it up after, so it ate the paint and now it's flaking off. That is a bummer. I can't paint that area. There simply isn't enough room to do that. But I will order one of those rust protection liquidy thingies that I use back home. Spray, coat the entire area, and that's not gonna rust. It'll protect it from rusting. I mean, that was covered in oil previously, and that's why it never rusted. So in this case, an oil leak was beneficial. Also knocked out a few fuel lines. Just briefly wanted to mention the fuel lines. Someone already replaced them. The standard fuel lines are MBR/CR material. That's what the car came with from the factory. And someone installed FBM/Eco lines. These are an upgrade over standard rubber because these are more temperature resistant. And I think the reason why someone replaced them, well, 100% why? Because of the headers. The heat shields are missing, and as you can see, the rubber lines are right over there and there, so it's getting quite hot in here, and the standard rubber cannot withstand the heat, so upgrade. I don't know how old these are, but they're still nice and soft. BimmerWorld had the upgraded hose in stock, so I went ahead and refreshed it anyway. But for example, this here, these are vacuum lines, also standard fuel lines, and they're hard as a rock. This is original rubber. This was never replaced, so I'm gonna upgrade that too with that stuff over there. Right, the Euro CSI Tandem vane pump. I've been thinking really hard what to do here because this is such a rare part. There is a guy in California that rebuilds various Tandem vane pumps, but he's never touched this particular one, but he did work on E38 with self-leveling suspension in the back. They use pretty much the same style pump, and he hates them. He doesn't like them one bit because they're really difficult to rebuild, can't find parts. Yeah, that's coming from a guy that does that for a living. I reached out to him, and initially he wasn't very friendly, but then Harold jumped in and smoothed things over, and he was kind enough to tell me the size of the shaft seal in the front, which is the only thing that we need to replace here, really.
Oh, it's gonna be much more than that.
That being said, I found a post on Beamer forums, and a guy with the same pump from a Euro CSI, he took it apart, and there are 5 little plungers on the inside running around the shaft. They were completely worn out. So I kind of want to take this thing apart, see the condition overall, because if those things are worn out or something else is wrong with the pump, that's going to be the answer why the rear wheel steering is not working. And I found some pictures on that guy's website with the E38 pump blown into million pieces, so I was kind of able to puzzle everything together. There's a circlip on the back of the shaft, much like on the output flange and the diff, but I'm thinking let's not try this, maybe we break something. I need to split the casing correctly and see where we end up. So I'm gonna remove these 4 screws here, which will release the back cover, pull that off. It's a complicated thing, man, and it's really risky messing with this because, like I said, if I make a mistake here and I damage the pump, we're in world of pain, world of trouble. That thing is not gonna come off. Well, you can roll it off the left, but it's not gonna drive anytime soon. But the first good news is there is no play in the shaft. Okay, first thing we're gonna do is clean the housing from the outside. I don't want dirt going all over the place. Ah, I hate American brake cleaner. It stinks so bad. It stings the nostrils, man. I can't find a respirator here, so I'm covering my nose and mouth. My t-shirt. That's the pump, all nice and clean. I also use compressed air to blow it out a little bit. Have clean gloves, clean carbonius. Let's try with Yuga Duga. Quattro, indeed. Yeah, this thing already wants to, yeah, it's already split. It's oil coming out. Let me remove the bracket on the back. There are also a bunch of little veins inside, and I want to split it apart slowly, and I don't want anything to drop out. Okay, so if you put it like this, yes, now we can do it bit by bit. It's like it wants to jump out, look at that. Oh, I see some bad wear. I see scoring marks. Okay, that's all the bolts removed. So that is the plunger there with the spring. That's why this wants to pop out. Huh. Okay, the shaft doesn't go all the way through then. Does this split into 2? No, it doesn't. It just looks like it. It's a 3-piece pump. It is fairly clean on the inside. Look there. Those look like scoring marks. The veins are below this plate.
that much I can see. This. So there's a little bit of wear here from the vanes, but not too bad. Oh, the vanes are coming out. How do I keep that in place? I don't want them to go everywhere. You know what? I'm gonna tape the vanes so they can't drop out. Okay. That's gonna keep the vanes in place. Okay, let's see what we got now. No, this is still hitting something, so we need to remove more stuff on the back. Yeah, it's stuck here because of this circlip. Okay, I gotta remove the circlip somehow, but I don't have a clip removal tool here. Found something. Do you know what happened? The circlip just flew off. I was holding my hand there purposely so it doesn't shoot out, and it bounced off my hand and went somewhere. Anyone have a massive magnet? Okay, I'm gonna go hunting. I can't believe it, but I found it. Oh, that was close. That was so close. How about now, good sir? Will you come out now? Yes. Now it wants to come out, but I still want to keep little veins in place. That scoring that I spotted earlier, I think that's nada, man. It's just on the side here. It's exactly ignore that. That's not scoring. The inner part of it has the same thing, so that's not scoring. It's just how it was machined, I guess. Okay, that should keep the veins in place. Flip it around. Jizz. And now it can come out. So this is the part that I thought was scored. It is not scored. In fact, it's perfect.
See, even on the inside, it's the same. So not scored.
All right, can we finally take this thing out? That's the O-ring here that is completely flat, which I don't have. Oh no, I see some bad wear marks there. No, we have the same situation. Oh, crap. Well, there's our answer to why this pump is not working. God, that one's machined flat. It's in horrible condition. Terrible condition. This is exactly what I was afraid of and why I wanted to take this pump apart. So you have 5 little plungers on the bottom part of this housing, and that rides up against the shaft here. You can see how nice and shiny that is, and the plunger also looks quite good. But then here you have 5 larger plungers, pistons if you will, and look how rough that surface is. That shaft is destroyed, and look, there are 5 of those plungers, and that one is, you can see through it. I think that got stuck somehow in there, and then it just grinded itself. All 5 are damaged beyond any chance of repair inside as well. So the only one that's still kind of working is this one. So to use the professional term, and that's our answer. That's why the rear wheel steering is not working. This is really bad news. I'm now wondering if I can find used 750 IL pump, take that for parts, maybe it's in better condition, use that. So the guy from California was right, this is a design. Let's remove the cover, see what's going on there. What? Oh, I see. There's a bushing here stopping you from removing the shaft. You can see the shaft seal in the front.
I want to remove the cover here, but I can't because the shaft is eccentric and it's hitting this bushing there. So this needs to be pressed out. There you can see where the seal was riding, and the seal, the radial shaft seal is there. So if it was just that, we could have serviced this pump. So when I bought this car and I knew about inoperable AHK in the back, that was the only thing that I was afraid of. Nothing else. Everything else I can fix. This, there are no parts. 0 parts available for this. So how do you even fix this now? Machine shop, machine these plungers new. The only thing that comes to my mind right now is to try and find a used E38 750 IL or any E38 with self-leveling suspension in the back pump, and maybe raid that for parts. Let me ponder a bit more. I spent a bit more time looking at this thing, and there's another circlip here, there, which you can remove, and then remove this sleeve It's in perfect shape. Then you have this middle sleeve, and then you have this destroyed sleeve. So the shaft is actually not destroyed completely. These are just pressed on sleeves. You can pull them off and press them back in. So if I could find a machine shop that could make a new sleeve here and new plungers, we'd be in business. But who's gonna do that, and how long is that gonna take?
In the meantime, I need to see if I can even remove what's left of the broken plungers. Well, destroyed plungers. Okay, that's one. And that barely came out. Why is it so stuckerson? I think that's exactly what happened. This thing got stuck in its board there, and what else is gonna happen then? This thing is gonna machine it. It's supposed to move. This is an eccentric shaft, so as it moves, it's just gonna ride on the plunger like that. Let's see this one that has a hole. Oh, I'm breaking the thing. That one popped out. That's nice. But why did you get stuck, my friend? Okay, got two out. Look, it has a hole. Okay, I need a magnet. Yeah, I'm gonna need a lot stronger magnet than that. The rest of the three I might need to... Oh, wait, that moved. Okay, I have two magnets. So what I'll probably have to do here is drill the hole in the middle and then push it out, because this is not coming out. Yeah, but that's not something I need to worry about now. Status report. My plan was to get the E38 750IL pump here, and you can actually buy a rebuilt one for around 300 bucks, which isn't too bad. Problem is, you have two different sizes of plungers here. The ones on the bottom are smaller, the ones on the top are bigger. And the 750 pump only has the smaller plungers. The good news is I can still use some parts from that pump, like this sleeve here on the shaft. I can use probably the O-rings on the front and the back, and potentially this sleeve here, because this one here, if I move the shaft a little bit, you can see that it has a bit of play. Now, I don't know how much play is normal here. It has to have some for the oil to get in there. There are also some oil passages and stuff, but once I get that pump here, I can probably double check that. But that being said, if it's a rebuilt pump, I don't think they replaced that. So what we're doing right now, one of the guys here, Jonathan, took the bigger plungers, and one of them barely survived, like by a millimeter on the side. So he's gonna take measurements of that plunger and reach out to some machine shops to see if we can have that custom made and how long it would take. But also we need to determine the hardness and all that stuff. And if I can get new plungers made, then I can rebuild this pump. But all of that will take a very, very long time. It's not something that's gonna happen in a couple of days. From this point in time, I have 7 days left to work on the car before I need to fly back home. Without this pump, I won't be able to start or drive the car. And after all the work I've put so far into the car, with more to come, and not being able to hear it run would be a disappointing ending. This is a big obstacle, one that seems impossible to cross at the moment. Finding a replacement pump, not gonna happen. It's specific only to Euro E31 CSI and isn't shared with any other model. Replacement parts? Well, the company that made the pump in the first place no longer exists, so that ain't happening either. Machining parts? Possible, but that's not something that's gonna happen in 7 days. Or is it? Remember, I am in parts heaven, surrounded by capable people, aka BimmerWorld, and they might just save this project. I later received word from Jonathan, the engineer on site, that he found a machine shop that might be able to deliver the goods within our time frame. We'll have to wait and see how that pans out. Anyway, since posting the first episode, I received a training manual for the AHK system from a nice subscriber, Robert, from Australia, so I can give you a bit more info about this magical contraption. This is a triple circuit pump where you effectively have engine-driven 3 pumps on one shaft. It has the vane type pump for power steering, then a radial piston pump, the smaller plungers, for ASC plus T, which is 90s BMW lingo for automatic stability control and traction, and finally a radial piston pump, the bigger plungers, for the AHK, the rear wheel steering. Over-engineering at its finest, and we just scratched the surface here. Proper insanity with this pump is yet to come. For now, this is gonna go on the side, and we're going to soldier on with the rest of the car, say these crusty vacuum lines. That's those lines replaced, and also I replaced the factory plastic Y fitting there. The one that I used is brass with plastic covering in the middle, so that's gonna last longer because the plastic ones break. I also repainted the canister there. It was a little bit rusty, and spritzed fluid film all over the place so it stops any further rust development. Also, the windshield washer bottle is kaput. Someone tried to repair that. It looks like it didn't quite work. And also we're missing a heat shield here, so I need a replacement bottle. Got lucky and found fluid film locally. Last bottle as well. This stuff is fantastic at preventing rust and rust protection in general, so I'm gonna spritz that area over there vigorously. Smell is pretty terrible. It smells like rotten apples. Okay, that's too much, so perfect. So that's that fixed, and that'll never rust. That stuff is really sticky and gooey, and it's also high temperature resistant. I use that stuff quite a lot for cars that I drive in winter, and none of them have rust. They have an industrial ultrasonic cleaner, aka the ZZ machine here, so we're gonna make use of that. The intake manifolds are in overall nice shape, but they're full of carbon all around. Like, look at that, all gummed up, and I wanna clean that. This is where the injectors go. That's all really dirty, and I don't want to do this work manually, so let's pop it in the ZZ machine, let it run for a little bit. Let's see what we get. So this one goes down. Will this work? Oh yeah, oh yeah. Let that cook. Let's see what we have. That looks real clean. Yes, carbon is gone. Very, very good. All right, I gotta go rinse this out thoroughly, dry it, and then it's assembly time. Problem. Black paint is coming off. Don't know why. I didn't use brake cleaner on this because American brake cleaner is aggressive. Maybe it's from the ultrasonic. I don't know, or just the paint is really poor quality. So I'm gonna tape this off real quick. First remove this black paint, prep the surface, and paint it. I think they have some high temp paint over there that should work for this application. It's just, man, it's about ready to assemble this. Welcome to my temporary paint booth, which is still in the shop, just far away from all of the cars. I went to the software store and bought paint, engine enamel primer with ceramic. So we're gonna spritz that first and then follow up with low gloss black engine enamel with ceramic. It stands heat up to 500 degrees Fahrenheit, whatever that is in Celsius, 3 million probably. And yes, I'm wearing an incorrect mask for this, but that's all I have at the moment. Hit it with primer. Second coat. F***ing stupid can! Spray directly to my finger. This is a weird can. So far so good. Now we gotta sand the surface and bring out brushed aluminum finish on the stripes and the BMW logo, well, letters. You know what? That looks awesome. Little bit of paint, sanding, and the finish is fantastic. All right, let me do the other one quickly, and then it's reinstallation time. It's getting late, but I want to get this done tonight. The intake manifold gaskets are NLA, but not to worry. You can safely reuse them with Rhinestone seal. In fact, it's better than brand new rubber seals because this is going to last longer. So we're going to apply a thin bead here. Beautiful. I cleaned the intake manifold gaskets in the ultrasonic machine as well. So they're nice and clean. Nice. Now remove the excess. There you go, more Rhinestone seal. First, bank one intake manifold goes in. And mustn't forget the fuel return line. Also replace the hoses here. Very good. So you gotta do bank one first because of the fuel return lines. Beautiful. That was the last click. Good elbow with a magnet in the socket. Works a treat here. It's 2 in the morning, gonna call it a night, get some sleep, and then let's hit it hard tomorrow again. The fuel injectors, as you can see, they look
fantastic.
So I replaced them with new, more modern Bosch injectors that supersede the old ones, as well as new fuel pressure regulators.
I don't have my molecote or in grease with me, so we're gonna use a light coat of oil on the O-rings, get them to seat properly. Oh, great. And by the way, all of these parts you can get from BimmerWorld. Look at that, new original Bosch injectors. I'll go find some silicone vacuum lines and then this rail is good to go. Gonna hook up the lines in the back, and that's the fueling system in the engine bay done, completely overhauled. We have old PCV components and new, as well as a brand new oil cap and a gasket. And that's that installed times 2. Look how old and grimy that is. Really annoyed that the new original cap comes with Castrol on it. I wanted to reuse the old one, but the gasket, the design is different, so I can't. Now we're gonna service the throttle bodies. These can cause lumpy and poor running, poor throttle response, and they can even shut the entire bank. That being said, this one doesn't appear to be too bad. I don't think it was ever messed with. We have one anti-tamper screw, which is easy to remove, 4 Phillips, and 1 Torx. I cleaned the outside of it thoroughly first, so now we can attack it. I have brand new parts from our good friend Ed, and he made reproduction parts. We have a new encoder plate, new gaskets, and another gasket. And this is actually an upgrade over the stock one, because the throttle response is going to be that much sharper, because everything is nice and fresh, and you know, modern parts versus 30-year-old ones. The anti-tamper one we're going to grab with the vice grips. Easy does it. Now you gotta pry it apart. I don't think this was ever apart. There we are. Pull that out. Now we have 3 screws to remove the encoder plate. So this is usually what gets gummed up. You have brushes here. Sometimes if they're worn enough, they'll get stuck in there. And then obviously you have a lot of material on the surface here, which we need to polish. And now careful pulling this up, because we have brushes underneath that we don't want to damage. There they are. There's a gasket there. Carefully take it out. And you can use a screwdriver to kind of press up on the brushes a little bit. Gingerly clean the inside of it. Grab the new gasket. Pop that in there. New encoder plate. Gasket. And now we gotta polish the surface here. I like to wipe off the old grease. Grab some sandpaper. First we wanna clean it with alcohol. Yeah, polish away. Beautiful. Fresh Pinot Grigio for the shaft. Now retract the brushes. Nice. Pop the brushes back into place. Bingo. So this has a large magnet inside and wants to pull this out. The way I do it is I hold this with a tiny screwdriver so it can't come out, and then pop this into place quickly. Like so. And then the last O-ring goes here. Beautiful. And that's this throttle body done. First things first, connect the vacuum hose, the vacuum line. Paper gasketio. I'm not gonna put salad dressing on this one because this part might come off again. It's a very common thing to come off. Now I'm gonna check for vacuum leaks, which is pretty important after the repair that we just did. If this thing ends up having any, even a tiny bit of a vacuum leak, it's not gonna run right. So I have a smoke machine here. The machine was acting up, so I gave it a good old, and now it seems to be running fine. I gotta say, this machine is not very strong. But in any case, I trust my work. I've done this repair 17 million times and I know how to get them to seal. I think we can call this repair successful. I'm gonna reconnect the wiring now. Should probably wipe this off a little bit, huh? Jeez. Oh, look at that. Can you not clean? So these connectors here are crucial to get right. If you mix them up, you have cylinder notification sensors and crank sensors. It's never gonna run right. So I marked them before I took everything apart and took a picture so I know where what goes. That goes there, that goes there. What the f***? It has Freon? Don't tell me it has Freon. I was planning on replacing the AC compressor now, but... Okay. No, we're good. The system is empty, actually. That's just some residual air. Yep. Cool. It is empty. AC compressor. After closer inspection, listen to this. That's not too terrible for a compressor that's 31 years old, but the bearing in the pulley is clearly shot, and that's gonna make noise when the engine is running, and I don't want that. Top of that, the AC system doesn't work, the system is empty. I don't know how long this has been inoperable, so to play it safe, we're gonna replace the AC compressor, because BimmerWorld managed to source one for this car. I think I'll disconnect these lines here. Disconnect the connector. Very good. Nice. Nice. I'd expect them to be a lot more seized than that, but no, not the case. Yeah, gotta remove the ground cable. Oh, you stupid ratchet. I was doing something I don't want it to do. Okay, senor compressor. Come on out. Found the smallest sledgehammer in the world. Nice. There we are. Cool, the AC compressor is on the picnic table, and my initial plan was just to replace the pulley and the clutch. However, it's not available anywhere. Can't find those parts. So I gotta replace the entire compressor, and it's kind of tricky to find one for this car. Only off brands are available, and I don't want to use a crappy part that's gonna fail. But remember, kids, we are at BimmerWorld, and they somehow managed to find a hella one. Hella bare. Brand new AC compressor. We do gotta transfer over the manifold on the top and also check how much oil we have in this compressor. Here we go. Is there even anything? This popster is empty. It's fine. Let's remove the manifold. Still nothing? Seriously, bro? Oh, there is a little bit. It looks like there's moisture in there. Yes, comes with a gasket. Let's drain whatever's in it. There we go. Wow, it's already contaminated. Okay, that's everything out. This bucket was clean. Look at that. That's what came out of the compressor. Black stuff, so I don't feel comfortable reusing that fluid. Got the correct oil, PHG 100. That's what this compressor calls for, and a measuring device. We need around 150 milliliters to put into this compressor. This fluid is much cleaner than the stuff that came out of the compressor. That's about 5 ounces. Drink up, friend. All right, the gasket is nice and fresh, so let's get our manifold. Right, I removed the connector from the old compressor. This wire is far too long, but that's okay. We'll zip tie it into place. And where's that other thingamajigga that I just removed? This thing. Good. I couldn't resist, I had to clean a little bit, just a tickle. I mean, look how beautiful that chassis light looks. Nice.
BimmerWorld has in stock new O-rings, which of course I forgot to put on the list. And zoom! That's the AC compressor replacement. Finito. We have a blow-off valve here. It's not a blow-off valve. Most E31s came with a cap here, but this one has this pressure relief valve. Gonna refresh the ignition coils as well. Have genuine ignition coils from Bosch. The original cover, which is a little bit crispy, but fits. And it looks original. It says, Achtung, Hochspannung. And don't you worry, Coco, we are going to dry ice blast this engine bay once we're done. Next, the ignition rotor arm. This is the original one, completely worn out. This one is easy to remove. Sometimes they can be a bit difficult to get out. Double, triple Baconator. Here's a brand new original Bosch one. Beautiful. Brand new distributor cap, Bosch. Light circulation again. That's it. New ignition wires. BimmerWorld also had this in stock, which is super neat. It says Bremi on them. And the cables itself, you can test out really easily, and you always should do that because quality new parts sucks. They need to be 6 kilo ohms, so use a multimeter for that. And then the ignition wire needs to be 2. And finally, you have this donut sensor, aka cylinder identification sensor, and it comes with replica ones. These wires do. That you remove and throw away because it's not going to last or work properly. And remove this from the old ignition wires because the original one is the only one that's going to work here. And then test again to make sure that the wiring and everything is correct and make sure you flip it around correctly. I've done this several thousand times on the channel, so I'm not gonna go too deep into details. I'm gonna reuse the heat insulation socks because I think it's just smart to do that with the headers, and it's something that I'm gonna do in my car as well. Project Marseille. Now, plugging in ignition cables. You gotta make sure that they're connected correctly, as in you gotta hear a solid click. Heard that? That's a solid connection right there. There it is. So far, I quite like the quality of the wires. They're neatly insulated. Quality seems pretty good. And they have these little numbers on them, which makes it rather easy to connect everything. Nice. I'll copy paste on bank 2, and that's the ignition system done. Time for the vibration dumper to go back in. Spritz it with a little bit of paint and wire brush the rust off. I think, yes. Beautiful. Got a brand new coolant hose here. We have brand new Borg Warner thermostat, or Waller, made in Germany. Just cool. Right, I'm staring at the AC condenser, contemplating whether I should replace it or not. Visually it looks fine, but it is a 31-year-old AC condenser. Thing I don't like is the fan kind of catches or something, and there's quite a lot of dirt and stuff in here that I want to clean, and then we have two lines that are leaking that I want to refresh as well. So let's pull it out. I have a replacement one here. All right, let's see if I can break loose those lines. All right. Ah, yes. Very good. Tiny hazard ratchet saves the day yet again. So that's the dirt that's in there, and as you can see, I removed the rust that was here previously. I grinded that off and used some rust primer, and then we have 2 PS lines that are leaking, hydraulic lines that I want to tackle as well. I mean, they're not leaking, but you can see that they're wet. Found a bit more surface rust there.
It just came in my custom mixed Santorini blue paint. Let's see. You know what? That looks pretty good. I'll do 2 light coats and then we'll top it off with some clear coat. That'll do it. Here's what I'm doing now. The fan, listen. There's something stuck in the electric fan. A rock or whatever, and it's making this squeaking noise and it's catching when I turn it. So I want to see if I can open it and clean it. Maybe that'll help. I don't know. Sure didn't. Well, I can't open the whole thing. Yeah, there's something stuck inside. Let me try to blow it out. A lot of crap came flying out. Okay, looks like I'm wasting time. I just looked on BimmerWorld and this electric fan is available, unlike the early E31s. So let me talk to Phil to get a brand new one, because this, it's gonna drive me nuts. And I can't clean it. I think I might have found a way to remove the blades. Okay, will this come out now? Finally. Yeah, this is a closed motor. I can't clean it. Patard. All right, I think, yeah, I'll order a new one. They can have it here tomorrow. I need some special tools and stuff. It's not worth spending time on this. Well, I did try. Yep. Okay, I have clear coat. We have another hydraulic leak behind this panel. So let's see what's going on. Yep, that small line there.
Next, the fuel filters. The old ones were from 2002 or 2010, either way old, and here's the new ones with fresh lines ready to go in. Another original fuel return line.
This area is now nice and dry, but I'm gonna give it a few more days to fully dry, and then I'll cover it with fluid film as well. In the meantime, we're gonna install the AC condenser. The electric fan is gonna come tomorrow, so I'll check that in later with the condenser installed. So this condenser sits on these rubber thingies, and this is our brand new condenser that's bent to shit. Yeah, that's bent, brother. Okay, I made it straight. I guess let's hook up the lines first. Brand new radiator, also Male/Bear, made in Indianapolis. Nope, kind of close. India. Previously was made in China, and that version was total garbage. This one is better. The core is the same size as the stock one. Well, original one. And the original one was indeed made by Male/Bear, except they're no longer made in Germany. Gotta connect double switch temperature sensor. Nice. Nice.
The new coolant lines went in. And the water pump pulley.
And now some crucial preventative maintenance. The fuel pumps, they are 31 years old at this point. They ain't gonna be good. We need to refresh them. Man, this is so much easier than on early 31s. I wonder if anyone did the pumps. Don't think anyone was in here before. See that? That seal is not broken. And that's something we're gonna have to break in order to get to the cover. Nice. Yep, that's all original, down to the fuel lines. Now we can remove the fuel pump. Yeah, that'll. I'll make a mark on the cover. And here. So here's the tool that BimmerWorld has in stock. You can buy this on their website to undo the fuel pump ring. There we go. That was nice. I gotta say, I gotta get me one of these. Maybe I just put it in my bag accidentally and take it home with me. Yeah, okay. Fits like that. Real nice and tight. Good tool, man, and it can't slip left or right. cool. Ha, I knew it. Told you that the fuel pump wasn't holding pressure. Almost no fuel here. Well, no fuel pressure, which means that the fuel pump is likely no good. It's not holding pressure. I know what I'm talking about, man. I know these cars. This is the fuel pumpilation that I just removed from the car, and on the first glance, it looks fine, right? Strainer is a little bit black, but it's an old pump. This is working fine. The pumps look quite clean. The plastic on the top is not broken, which can happen, and they are evidently working. They're pumping. The car is running with them. But if you remember when I pulled the fuel hose from the fuel rail, I told you that the system is not holding pressure. And here's why. Because of this, BMW used submersible rubber fuel lines, and this obviously lives in the fuel tank, and it's 31 years old at this point, so the pressure is bleeding off here. So when the pump is pumping, you're not getting the full pressure through the line because some of it is escaping through these cracks. And this is quite normal due to age, and modern fuel has ethanol and a lot of crap in it. It just eats this rubber. Both of the rubber lines are like that. And then on top of that, we have fuel pumps that are likely not pumping as good as they did on the first day. Age is a thing. So we're gonna go with the upgraded pump from Ed. Why upgraded? Because he redesigned the whole fuel pump assembly from scratch. We have thicker plastic on the top so it can't crack, unlike this one, and corrugated lines so it can't crack and rot throughout the years. This pump is bulletproof. Ed did a phenomenal job with this pump, and I'm running this in my E31 as well, and look at that. Even comes with a brand new gasket. So if you want to grab one of these, you can do that through Ed's website, or you might be able to buy them through BimmerWorld as well. They're now in the talks to start working together because we gotta save V12s, man. We gotta save as many as we can. Thank you, Ed. And just to be clear, I didn't take this for free. I want to support Ed, so I did pay for this pump. He did give me a little bit of a discount, which I appreciate, but I still paid for the pump. He's a one-man show, just like me, and he needs all the support that he can get. Even wiring comes with it. Almost forgot to mention, but this fuel pump assembly is using original Bosch pumps. The good stuff. None of that aftermarket garbage, just genuine Bosch. New fuel pumpio going in yo. By the way, the fuel tank looks really clean. It's a plastic fuel tank, so typically they always do look clean. So now seat the gasket. There you go. Nice and easy, dude. Back when I worked as a pool server in California, we had a Bulgarian guy, and every time you tell him something, he's like, dude, relax. He's a very chill guy. Make sure that the gasketio is sitting correctly. Why am I talking like that? Why am I so demented? Dementio. Nope, stop it. I just talked to Ed, and he told me that the reason he's including new pigtails, the connectors that is, with the pumps, is because he had a few cases where the connector would melt. And that's because the original pins get loose over time, corroded, and just make a mess. So I think we're gonna follow his advice and swap in the new pins. Yes. Perfect. That feels quite tight, and lined up the marks from before. Coolia against paradise, man. Now we gotta replace the two stupid rubber lines, which can be a tricky task, but I've done that 16 million times as well, so I think we should be fine. Ladies and dames, how did I do this? Didn't you just say you've done it 3 million times? That's one out. There you go. Gonna go cut some new lines. Now for this next partio, you need a tiny ratchet. I have one from Hazard. Doesn't need to be from Hazard, but it is a nice ratchet. I've been struggling quite a bit to get the hose clamp on this hose here. Don't recall ever having this on another E31. Oh yeah, I got it slip on. Almost as if the metal pipe is shorter. Okay, that's the hoses done. Now we're gonna go and replace the wiring, the pins that is. All right, to the pin disconnector should be pretty easy. You just pull this towards the top, but be careful now, don't break it. There you go. Oh, there's another one on the bottom. Okay, I see. Oh, I see what it means now. Here's the stock pin. That is loosey-goosey. Here's another one. Does not fit tightly. That is way too loose. And here's one from Ed.
That's how it should be. Nice and tight. Yeah, much better. I can feel it. You can feel when you slip the connector over the pin, how it grabs nicely. Well, here, no. It's just too loose. I don't feel it grabbing. So yeah, definitely do this. And that is now supplying these connectors with every fuel pump. Okay, snip time. We're gonna use heat shrink solder tubing thingy. There isn't much space here to do anything else. And normally I don't like using them, but after doing a bit of research, actually, it's fine. They work quite well. Very good. That is a nice, strong connection. Beautiful. That was nice and easy. Careful with aluminium. The gasket. Now, you'd think that we are done with the fuel system, but no, we're gonna go for the bonus points. On the other side, we have yet another fuel line. This is a return line that's also hard as a rock. There, are you happy now? Well, yes, I am. By the way, there's definitely a difference between early E31s and later ones, like this one. On Project Phoenix, I've done this exact line and I struggled, really struggled to get that one on. Here, it was a piece of New York cheesecake, while the other side was a bit trickier than usual. Now we're done with the fuel system. I ended up using 50 hose clamps, brand new ones that BimmerWorld gave me. Actually ran out in the end. I ended up using a couple of old ones that were in nice condition. It's past midnight. I'm not gonna bother anyone at this point. Anyway, this is something you have to do on a car of this age. You simply have to if you want to see it run and drive and not burn. It breaks my heart when I see a classic car go up in flames because of old fuel lines. It's just, do it. Spend the money, spend the time, and do it. And now on this car, we replaced every single fuel hose, so it will never burn. It will burn fuel, but in the engine. Did I mention it's one of two? Santorini Blue, man, what a beautiful car. Okay, it's 45 minutes past midnight, so let's do some work. Actually, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Fender liners, we can do that. Still waiting on the parts for the pump. The anticipation was killing me too. At the moment, it's Wednesday, and the new plungers are supposed to come in on Friday. On Tuesday morning next week, I'm flying back home. So tune in next time to see me wrestle with the stupid pump and try to get the car running again. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you then.